I'm gonna go ahead and call this regular city council meeting to order based on the wall clock, which says 6 o'clock. So if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Ludwig.
Here.
Haynes.
Here.
Jenkins.
Here.
Van Allsburg.
Here.
Rhines.
Here.
Gilroy.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Alrighty, I'm looking for approval of this evening's agenda unless there are changes that need to be noted.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you so much. Do I have
Second.
support? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have an opportunity for audience participation with a maximum of 5 minutes per presentation. Is there anybody that would like to come forward at this time? All right. Moving along, we've got our council meeting minutes of October 13th, 2025. I'm looking for approval unless there are changes that need to be noted.
I move that we accept the minutes as presented for the October 13th meeting.
Thank you so much. Do I have support?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have accounts payable, otherwise known as where did the money go?
Where did all
Terry?
that money go? Well, this time it's a small amount, actually. The surprising thing in here is that when you look at it's called ad valorem, which is where we give money to the other governmental units and so forth. Ad valorem accounted for 75% of this amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not not that big, it's 358,000, but 75% of that went to other government things. So, yes, your taxes are high, but a lot of it goes to other government organizations. Other than that, I have no other comments.
All right.
Ready
Any
for a motion?
questions regarding
Questions?
accounts payable? All right, looking for your
Okay.
motion.
Make a motion to accept checks 78653 through 68675, ACH 1819 through 1846, for a grand total of $358,191.94. Now that I've made the motion, I have to say, that looks suspicious. We go from 78,000, check number 78,000, to check number 68,000.
Oh,
That makes me think that there's maybe a typo.
there might be a typo on that. Can we definitely check into that and have that corrected?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
So let's change that to check 78,653 to 78,675.
Thank you so much, Terry, for
Okay.
catching that. I appreciate it. All right, we have a motion on the table. Do I have support? Thank you, Scott. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Van Allsburg.
Yes.
Rhines.
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Haynes.
Yes.
Jenkins.
Yes.
All right, and now we are to the point in our agenda where it is time for our 2024-2025 fiscal year audit presentation. Welcome, it's so nice to see you. If you could state your name for our viewing public.
All right, my name is Christina. I work with Roseland Prestige and Company. I'm a partner over there, and our firm did the audit for the city of Williamston. So I'm here to present to the board the results of that audit. So I brought with me, like I typically do, the audit packet. I think you have it now in paper form as well as electronic form. We do that so that we can pull specific pages out of the full audit report and add some highlighting or text boxes to help us focus on some important areas that I want to cover with you. If you have any questions on what we cover or anything out of the full audit report, let me know.
Special request, could you speak up a little bit? I'm getting old and my hearing is going down.
All right,
Sorry.
I'll try.
Christina, you can even pull that podium a little bit closer too if you want,
Okay.
so you don't have to like yell.
How's that?
That's better,
All right.
thanks.
Again, as we go through the information, if you have questions, let me know, okay? The first page in is the first of 3 letters that we include with the financial statements of the city. This is the opinion letter. Here is where we give our opinion as a result of that audit. And the opinion is actually at the very top of that letter, and I put a box around the most important wording there. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly. That's considered a clean opinion and an unmodified opinion, so that's what you're looking for. That's what you do want in that letter. Below that, I've highlighted a new paragraph in this opinion letter, change in accounting principle. For fiscal year 2025, the city did adopt GASB Statement Number 101, which impacts how you calculate compensated absences liability. That's the vacation and sick leave. There's more information on that. But whenever there's a change that's been adopted, we're required to identify that in that letter. So there's that wording. Below that, I highlighted that management is responsible for the preparation and presentation of the financial statements. And below that, under the auditor's responsibilities, it is our responsibility as your auditor to obtain reasonable assurance about whether those financial statements are, whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue the auditor's report that includes our opinions, and that's what this letter is. So I'm going to skip past the next couple of pages. We'll go to page 3, it says. I present this information out of order because this page, it comes directly from the trial balance of the city. And this is the balance sheet for the governmental funds. Those governmental funds are the general fund, major street fund, and the local street fund. Okay? These pages are on a modified accrual basis. That's a short-term view. That means that the long-term debt and other long-term items such as capital assets are not included in these numbers. This page is the balance sheet. It will give the assets first. Those are items that are owned by the city or owed to the city as of year end. Liabilities after that, those are items that are owed to others. Deferred inflows of resources, that's inflow that will come in, but it's deferred until later because of that short-term view. And the difference between all of those categories brings us down to the bottom, which is fund balances. I highlighted there, the total fund balance for the general fund as of year end was $2.9 million. And we like to include this table at the bottom. It's an analysis of the fund balance for the general fund compared to the expenditures for the year. So here you can see that the general fund balance was $2.9 million. General fund total expenditures for the year were $2.5 million. So that percentage of fund balance to expenditures was 117%, or 14 months worth of expenses sitting in your fund balance. It's very healthy fund balance. Okay. The next page is page 5. This is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, otherwise known as an income statement for those same funds, the governmental funds. Again, this is on a modified accrual basis or a short-term basis. This page shows all of the revenues that came in, and then below that, all of the expenditures that went out, plus another category called other financing sources and uses, to bring us to 3 lines from the bottom there that I highlighted. The net change in fund balance. For the general fund, that was a positive $316,000, so that was a net income from operations for the year. That was added to fund balance as of year end. What we do then is take all of that information, which is on a short-term basis, and we add to it the long-term activities, such as capital assets, any additional retirement or OPEB, other post-employment benefit information if needed. And that brings us up to page 1. You see there are 3 different highlighted columns here. The first column is governmental activities. That's where all of those 3 funds that we just talked about have been put together, and the long-term activity has been added. The next column is the business type activities. That includes your sewer and water funds together. The last column are the component units. That's the EDC, DDA, TIPA 2A, and 2B. That's where that information is. This is the statement of net position. You can see at the top, this is on a full accrual basis. All of that long-term activity is included. And the statement of net position is the same balance sheet, if you will, on a long-term basis. It lists all the assets first. We have a new category for deferred outflows of resources, then liabilities, and then deferred inflows of resources. And the difference between those categories brings us to the bottom, which is net position. So total net position for the governmental activities on a long-term basis as of year end was $8.8 million. For the business type activities was $12 million. And for the component units together was $4.9 million. The next page is called the statement of activities. This is the income statement, if you will, for everything on a full accrual or long-term basis. And I highlighted in blue toward the bottom the change in net position. So as a result of operations on a full accrual or long-term basis, the governmental activities was a positive $404,000 that was added to net position as of year end. For the business type activities, again, that was a positive $157,000. And for the component units in total, it was a positive $263,000. Okay. I put a box around the information below that. That's new. What we did for the implementation of GASB 101 was we had to restate last year's ending net position. So I wanted to show you where the impact of that new standard could be seen in the financial statements. And there's more information in the notes. I'm going to cover that with you in a minute. So the next page is a page out of the notes to the financial statements. Now the notes will provide some additional information on the numbers that you see up in the beginning of the report. And this particular note, note 4, that I highlighted, shows interfund receivables and payables. You'll see that the general fund, as of year end, was owed $900,000 by two other funds. Those were the sewer fund and the water fund. Wanted to point that out to you. And then on the next page, you'll see note number 5, due from other governmental units. I put a box around all of that HUD grant activity that was due to the city as of year end, a significant amount of receivables as of year end. And then below that, note 6, capital assets. This disclosure requires the city to start with last year's ending balance, which is that beginning balance column. We're also required to show the increases next, decreases or sale or scrap of assets, and then we include this transfers line. So a couple of lines down in this table, you'll see there's a category called construction in process. As of last year, that was about 1.7 million. That was all of that activity going into that HUD grant that had not yet been completed. And in that transfers column, what we're doing is we're pulling that out of construction in process because it was completed, those particular items, and then putting it down into the capital asset category that it belonged in, which was infrastructure. So I just wanted to point that out. That is for the governmental activities. And you'll see that same type of activity on the next page in the business type activities. So the beginning construction and process number there was 2.6 million. And during the year, an additional 28,000 was added to that number. And then those assets or that construction was completed at 2.6 million and was brought out, put into the specific categories that it applied to, the sewer system, the water system, and just wanted to show you that activity. There is still some construction in process, but a lot less than it was the year before. The next page, I wanted to show you note 15. This is the change in accounting principle. This gives some additional information on GASB number 101, which was adopted for 2025, and how it impacts the compensated absences calculation. But if you turn the next page, note 16 actually shows you how that GASB 101 implementation impacted the net position as of the beginning of the year. You'll see in that table that net position ended last year at 8.3 million. The adjustment for GASB 101 was a reduction of about 4,000, meaning that liability had gone up based on the new calculation method, bringing you to a new net position at the beginning of the year of 8.4 million. I'm sorry, down to 8.376. Note 17, like we do in previous years, we like to identify items that may impact your financial statements going forward. We've got a couple of GASBs identified there. I'm going to scroll past that to the next letter, which is the Government Auditing Standards letter. That's page 52 at the bottom. This is the second letter that we include with the financial statements of the city. Here's where we talk about any internal control or compliance issues we may have noticed during the audit. And under the internal control section in the middle, I put a box around some information here. It says, given the limitations during our audit, we did not identify deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. However, material weaknesses or significant deficiencies may exist and had not been identified. And then under the compliance section, I've got wording there that says the results of our tests disclose no instances of non-compliance or other matters that we're required to share in this letter. So again, a clean opinion in the internal control and compliance letter. And then a couple pages back is our third letter, communication with those charged with governance at the conclusion of the audit. Whenever we do an audit, we're required to communicate with this board 2 times. The first is during planning, hopefully everybody got a copy of their letter. And the second time is at the conclusion. We include that last letter with the report. And that's all I wanted to cover with you. Any questions,
Christina,
concerns?
thank you so much. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm curious, what happens that causes sewer and water funds to be transferred to the general fund?
I'm gonna have John answer that.
So, when we received the award notice for flood funding, right, and we received a total of $3 million. And with HUD, it's a reimbursable, so we have to spend the money and then request reimbursement. So, and the funds were actually transferred from the general fund to cover those construction costs, so that's done. And then ultimately, when we're reimbursed, both the general fund and the water and sewer fund will be made whole.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, Terry.
Similar kind of question, how much is outstanding from the government that we need to get paid? Just in
All
general.
of, it's reflected in here, it's roughly the 1.8 million, and that was the first,
Yeah,
the first tranche of projects, which was, Williams and Lloyd.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any idea, I mean, crystal ball, what do you think? Are we
I'm gonna
you're
dodge
answering
that
the
one,
phone
given
right
the
now.
national circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, we were making great progress right up until that point, but
Okay.
just in, again, I'd like to sound the early alarm if there is one. I mean, our grant agreement covers us through 2030. One thing we paused on, and we have a good idea on what we're gonna do next with the rest of the money, but until we receive this reimbursables, we can't even think about, I mean, even though we can afford it, we shouldn't contemplate, then we're getting to the point where we wouldn't be able to afford anything else, and I don't think that'd be a good idea. And we'll discuss that, and those are, thank you, those are
Yeah.
the right questions I would be asking if I was in your shoes. When we do our annual strategic planning, we'll talk about projects, and hopefully the cash flow will be reimbursed by then. The federal government will, come around and we'll see what happens.
So we'll definitely put that on for our, after the first of the year discussion.
Correct.
Any other questions for Christine? Yes.
We have 14 months worth of money if we didn't get any more in. What do other jurisdictions, what is the standard, if there is one, that you would say this is the level you have to be at for us to consider you in a safe position?
There's no written standard, there's no written requirement, let me put it that way. Each municipality determines what they're comfortable with. I've seen many municipalities hover about 20%. Many municipalities set a minimum fund balance that they're comfortable with. So to have the city of Williamston at 117% is very healthy.
Yep. And if we ever got below that threshold that's not healthy, the state of Michigan would probably come in and say, yes, go ahead, John,
Yeah,
you can
so-
answer that.
Well, and we have a policy statement from council from many years ago. I believe the minimum, the target fund balance is 25%.
Yep.
So we're beating that mark, and to kind of piggyback on Christina's point, every community is different.
Yep.
Some have a dollar amount.
Yep.
In larger communities that have, $100 million budgets, they're less concerned with holding 25% because the numbers are there. But one of the things with a healthy fund balance that's allowed us to do is to be more aggressive with fixing things that need to be fixed, like sidewalks and different street improvements. The general fund was able to advance construct in 2022 the general fund advanced the funding to DDA to complete the Old Mill parking lot. Is when I started here, you know, you could lose a small car in that parking lot, so, and the DDA didn't have the funds to do that, so we were able to do that. And that's a theme that will continue as we move into the 26-27 budget planning year. We'll certainly be presenting more projects for council to consider. And again, ultimately, that's a policy decision of where you want to be. I think you would agree that it's unusual to have a fund balance for a community our size, you know, over 100%. It's certainly a great thing
Right,
in a
yes.
short-term basis,
Yes.
but
Well, and as long as I've been sitting here, we have always had a very, very high fund
Correct.
balance. I mean,
Yep.
she's done this audit, I mean, I've been here 10 years. But that's the good thing, because I think what we're doing is we're becoming comfortable with moving forward with projects where I think there was hesitation in previous councils, previous staff, and we're at a point where we're comfortable. We can do those projects and not worry about it. So I love the fact that we are this healthy. I like staying this healthy, but we don't need to stay this healthy. We can spend some money if we need to and want to. And that goes across the board for several of our different boards, like our DDA, that's got an extremely healthy fund balance. And TIFA, yes, Terry.
Looking at our accounts receivable type things, every couple of weeks like that, we've spent $30,000 or something like that to make the street sweeper fixed.
Yeah.
It took a lot of money to do it, but it doesn't, there's no shock.
Right.
There's no, oh my gosh, there's no drama.
Yep.
$30,000, no drama.
Any other questions for
So
Christina?
say
Yes,
for,
Scott?
we have 14 months, say we went on a spending thing and it went down to 7 months. So then, would it stay at 7 months, or would it start increasing again, just?
so that's another great question. Just trying to do math in my head quickly, which is a bad idea. Tom can do it because he's a treasurer. CPA. It would depend on your spending plan every year. Every year is unique. For example, and I'm not recommending we do this, but we're talking about it. Councilmember Hanson mentioned the street sweeper. We're getting to the point with that thing. I mean, how much more money do we want to put into it, right? But we're in a cash position or unrestricted fund balance in the general fund where we could buy one when the time is right, and that goes for the loader, that goes for the vac truck. Those are the loader, isn't it? But the vac truck and the street sweeper are $250,000 purchases. And you can buy it in cash and avoid interest costs. You can finance it, you know, you can pay for half of it, but we have that flexibility to do that, so. And it's us that, I think that, again, this is a larger discussion probably for February, but, that will be a discussion point, is like with the fund balance, you know, where all of us are comfortable with being, and, it's a lot easier to manage when it is where it is now, but that doesn't necessarily mean long-term that's the right policy objective.
All right. Any other questions for Christina before we let her go?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Terry?
We've done this for 10 years.
Oh gosh, you've been doing this longer.
It's been a long time. When we came on, the city was being audited by the state, which is, we don't see that very often.
Yeah.
Wow.
How long ago, ballpark it for us?
Goodness, I'd have to say just over the 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so so probably right around the 2012, 2013 era.
The city was being investigated by the state of Michigan.
No, choose your words. No, she said, no, she said audited.
Okay.
You can choose for the state
Yeah.
of Michigan to be
Yeah.
your auditor. I mean, you
Yeah.
still gotta pay for it, but you
Yeah.
can make that choice.
Yeah,
Okay.
What you don't want is, you know, emergency financial.
emergency
control.
financial
And that's-
management, yes.
That's all kinds of
Yes,
bad.
That, we've not had that.
Yeah.
No,
It all
not had
changed, it all changed for Williamston in 2000.
Yeah,
That's when Ken Zicki showed up, turned it around, and we've been really good.
good ever since.
Before that,
If somebody could mark those landmines before I step on them, that would be nice.
Oh, well, sure, all right.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah,
That's
Chris,
that's a nuance.
I'm not going to. Don't bother putting your hand up anymore. Christina, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure when you get here. And council members, if you're going through this and you do find something that you do have a question about, reach out to John. John will get with Christina. She'll give clarification on it. But thank you so much.
Thank you. I do want to let the board know that we really appreciate the staff that you have on board here.
Yes,
It
they are
runs
very good.
Very
Those
smoothly.
guys.
Yes, they are very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Alrighty, we're gonna jump into our action items. We have 3 for this evening. The first is the reappointment of Carrie Ballou to the Downtown Development Authority for a term to expire 6/30 of 2029. And I do have to say that I've really enjoyed the fresh perspective that Carrie does bring to our DDA. She and her husband are the owner of that new place. If you've not been in there to eat, you're missing out. But I do have, you all have her application in front of you for a renewal for her to continue on Downtown Development Authority. So I'm looking for that motion.
And make a motion to reappoint Carrie Ballou to the Downtown Development Authority for a term to expire 6/30 of 29.
Thank you. Do I have support? Thank you. Both. If there's no questions about the application, I'll ask Holly to call the roll call.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Van Osberg,
Yes,
Rhines,
Yes.
All right. Next on our action items is vehicles and equipment for auction. We do have a memo in our packet from our city manager, John Hannafin. I'm going to turn it over to him at this point.
Thank you. This is pretty straightforward. We do have, 1985 box van, which I think is older than some of us up at the table. We haven't used that vehicle for many, many years. It was initially intended to be a sewer truck, and it probably had some use in that regard, but it certainly, we haven't used it since I've been here. It's just been in storage. Then we have we have a Ford 350. Again, it's almost 17 years old. It's been a great workhorse for us, but we no longer needed services, and the same with just a regular Ford F-150 of 2010. And then there is a 2-axle trailer, and nobody knows how old that thing is. But because this is equipment that we would intend to declare surplus and send to auction, there's council action needed. And so there's 2 motions. One is to declare the following vehicles of equipment surplus, the ones I mentioned, and then to use Bidergy auction services to provide the services to resell the vehicles and trailer listed above. We did use Bidergy for the police department Impala. I know Chief was pleased with the results. Bidergy, if you're not familiar with it, I did include the link to them. I've used them before in previous communities, and it's a very common, they do everything from schools to casinos to governments, large and small. I think the city of South Bend, Indiana is on it right now. And they are located right in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So happy to answer any questions you may have, but that is where we're at.
Well, maybe my fellow council members are curious, but I'm curious. How much do we think we can make off of these 4 bulleted items?
I would say, the total, probably the box fan, that's kind of a niche thing for people. So anywhere from $500 to $5,000. Someone might be in the market to make it a food truck or something like that.
Sure.
The 350 is a little more heavy duty. But again, because of the age, it's relatively low miles, but it does have some issues. Probably the steel or the floor is a little bit higher, probably $1,000 to $5,000. The Ford F-150, not much,
Okay.
because we run the bumpers off all of our
Yeah.
trucks.
Yep.
And the trailer, if we get $400 or $500, that'll be
Sure.
great, but I don't expect that.
Sure. All right. So, a little pocket change
It is,
for us,
and
but it's good to get rid of and, obsolete so we can bring new items in.
well, and in the box van, that's not a replacement vehicle. That's just taking up storage that we could otherwise use for other things.
All right. Terry.
So it'll almost buy tires for the front loader.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All righty. If nobody has any other questions for John, Dan, do you have a question?
I was just gonna say, this has to be separate motion.
Yep, 2. Yep. So I'm looking for the motions.
Make a motion to declare the following vehicles and equipment surplus. 1 1985 box van, a 2009 Ford F-350, a 2010 Ford F-150, and a 2-axle trailer, age unknown.
All right. Thank you so much. Do I have support for that motion?
Support.
Thank you. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Ludwig,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Van Osberg,
yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes. All right. I'm looking for the second motion.
I'd move that we use Bidergy auction services to provide auction services to resell the vehicles and trailer detailed by the previous motion.
All right. Thank you so much. Do I have support? Thank you. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Ludwig,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes?
Van Osberg,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes. All right, that concludes that action. Our last action item in front of us is the CAT front loader tire purchase. We do have a memo in here from our DPW supervisor, Ray Schmidt. He's not here this evening, so I will turn it over to our city manager, John Hanson.
Yeah, thank you. He sends his apologies. He's not feeling his greatest tonight, but he'll be here, hopefully in the meeting soon. So, our loader is about 10 years old, and the tires are exactly the same age, coincidentally. So this will be the first time we'll be replacing those tires. And, the front end loader is really a workhorse piece of equipment for us. We use it to move dirt and sand. We use it during leaf season. We use it during chainsaw in the park. We use it to move snow. It's got several attachments, so it's really a critical piece of equipment. So we went out and got pricing on some tires. We have used Randy's service historically for other tires and other things here. So we got a quote from them, and then we got one from Best One Fleet out of Jackson. And their price is better. It is a price out of it's actually this, it's not quite my deal, but it is out of a purchasing cooperative that they're able to get pricing for. And we did get a checked third quote from Ecoff Tire, and they did not provide a quote. So, given the fact that I obviously hope to get another 10 years out of these tires or so, I think that it's a good price for the 4 tires. And, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, the question is, there's an appreciable difference in the two bids here. Was there any difference in the load rating or same tires?
Yeah, and it's just Best One has the advantage of the purchasing cooperative pricing that they got through the vendor. I will tell you, we've used Randy's for other things. They did give us a great price for our backhoe tires, and actually we're more competitive than Best One. Those aren't as costly. Those are about $3,000.
Question I have, do we have to transport this, or do they come out and do the tire change for us?
Good question. They'll come out and do it for us.
Awesome, that's fabulous, okay, all right. Any other questions regarding front end loader tires?
Yeah, after 10 months, I'll ask, why does this come to council? Is there some dollar?
$7,000 is the magic number.
Yeah.
Yep, anything above
Over his
7,000. Unless it's an emergency.
Yep.
Yeah. And then ultimately it still comes to council to approve the bill.
Great question, because I think we forget that
After
sometimes.
10 months, yeah.
So, thank you. I'm looking for a motion to move this forward.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the CAT front end loader tires from Best One Fleet for a total of $7,447.30.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. I do have one question. They get these tires off, and they find something wrong with the rim or the ball joints or anything like that. How does that work?
Sure. We don't anticipate that because the vehicle's in perfect working order right
Okay.
now. It's just got older tires.
Okay.
Some of those things, we do have people on staff that can fix the minor things.
Okay.
But if we needed, then we would have a mechanic from CAT come out or one of their authorized suppliers.
Okay.
Good question.
All right, thanks. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Hanson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes?
Van Osberg,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
All right, that concludes our action items for this evening. We're gonna move into our discussion items. It's the same 3 that we've had, but I will go ahead and turn this over to City Manager John Hannafin to give us an update on construction projects, master plan, and main for safety improvements.
So we are completed with our construction work for the year, and I think most of the barricades are gone by now for the sidewalks. There were a couple of restorations left to do on that, so that's certainly a good thing. Mullet Street was done very quickly on a Friday afternoon, which a lot of people were excited about that, and we're moving into the point where other folks are asking why not our street too. Got a couple of questions on that naturally. And so those, as we move into our strategic planning for the budget moving forward, we'll have lots of good discussion about that. Did have some good communications with some folks on Mill and Railroad asking, when is their dirt road gonna be paved? And I was happy to be able to send them our slide from our strategic plan from last year that we're talking about doing that in 2026. So that's good. We did some, through the Kiwanis, they made some, it's not a major construction project, but probably just as important, they were replacing some of the older structures in the tot lot today. So that was done, so that was pretty cool. That was really a joint effort. Kiwanis takes the lead on all things with the tot lot, but they enlisted some Rotarians to help with the actual physical work, so it was a really good synergy there with our service club, so that was pretty cool. So that's all I have as far as city construction projects. You know, we're doing our planning now. Did have some folks come in today asking about Quinlan, because we had marked up Quinlan. So one thing we do initially, you know, Ray Schmidt, our DPW supervisor, will marker paint areas that are likely for patching, and we need to get quotes for those, and that's how we generate the quotes. So that's all I have for construction.
All right, and I would have to say, I've driven by several of the new sidewalk areas, they look fabulous. So I think, you know, we should, hopefully we'll hear some good feedback from that, on social media.
Well, and on that, I'm holding my breath for that, but on that front, that's the level of effort, because we are in a, you know, a financial position, and we have the technical skill set on board, I think, to do, that's the norm. That level of effort should be the baseline moving forward for sidewalks. Because there's a lot of sidewalks to be done.
Yep.
So,
I appreciate that.
as far as master plan,
Yes.
the, good discussion, at the planning commission meeting. I was not able to attend, but I provided my comments, and we have that, our next meeting is next month, or Tuesday, sorry, and we're just gonna be diving in. If council has any questions on the document and process, please do share that with myself or our council rep, Mr. Ludwig, and we can carry that message to the planning commission next week.
All right. And main force safety improvements.
I don't have anything to add at this time. I did get a meeting invite for the technical, like, field layout meeting from MDOT, which is, I think it's either next week or the week after that. So that's for the signal, so that's including to move forward, and at that time, and you'll have Mr. Westmoreland with me from Spicer, and we'll, while we have them in town, we'll be able to cut and, you know, point to what we plan to do there. So.
All right, great. Any questions regarding any of those updates? All right. Moving down our agenda, correspondence received, we do not have anything, so we're gonna jump right into our department head reports, and I'll go back over to city manager.
Thank you. So, for us, this is a long meeting, so I'm gonna spare my history of Halloween for all of you, which is actually a Celtic holiday, it's called Samhain,
Yes, it is.
but I'm gonna deviate from that. So, there's been a lot of discussion about trick-or-treating times,
Yes.
and historically, the city has just recommended times, and usually that's the norm in most communities. We had a discussion with the school superintendent and one of his staff, and then Chief Weiss and myself, about the possibility that Williamston would be hosting a home playoff game on Halloween, and we are in fact doing that. That matchup was set last night, by the way, about 24 hours ago. So with that, and there was maybe some premature messaging on what the recommended timing would be. I actually agree with the recommended hours of 5 to 7 for a number of reasons, but I want to reassure folks, we're not gonna be patrolling the streets if you're out there at 7:15. You know, this is not what we had a lot of discussion, good discussion, I think, about golf carts and ordinances and, you know, the appropriate level of government enforcement or intervention. And in the case of trick-or-treating, recommended 5 to 7, because there's also a whole number of families, by my count, with between football and the band and cheerleaders and staffing and people who are youth football that wanna be at the game.
Yep.
There's probably 150 or 200 families who are already gonna be there anyway.
Right.
But those who aren't, keep your porch light on, you know, hand out the big candy bars, do it upright. So we recommend 5 to 7, but folks, you know, it's not a mandate, we're not expecting people to take work off to rush home. But that 6 o'clock is usually the sweet spot for trick-or-treating in most communities anyway.
And the fact that it is still light out, but what I would ask for our city staff to do is, let's get this online as soon as possible tomorrow for the city website, on our light up board,
Right.
on our social media, maybe even on the Williamston events page, that the recommendation is 5 to 7, and just exactly what you said, use AI, GP chat, whatever to shrink it down, but, you know, it's really a personal preference,
Right.
but we also know we have a very, very cool big event that's happening Friday night at our football field with our football team. So, you know, we want to make sure that we recognize those families as well, and I thank you for pointing that out.
Halloween, I mean, my kids are full grown now, but that was always a really cool, special time,
Sure.
and, you know, we wanna be appreciative of that, but
Well-
as kids who were football players and athletes, we also fully supported the athletic programs that they all
Yeah.
participated in, so that's an important thing too.
Well, and I think too, oh, sorry, Steve. We do have various opportunities for trunk and treat. We had a fabulous, you know, downtown trick or treating this past weekend. Halloween is Halloween. I know people ask, could we bump it to Thursday? Could we move it to Saturday? Nope, sorry. Halloween is Halloween. It's not a floating holiday. So, everything is going to be great and fine, and everybody will happily coexist between 5 and 8.
What time is the,
The game, I think,
7.
seven kickoff, yes,
Well, the 6 to 8 historically
is
in
historical.
Williamston,
Yep.
was that approved, recommended,
It's been
put on the books by the council, or?
No, it's been 6 to 8. My kid is 34. It's been 6 to 8 for forever. And before they moved like the whole falling back time thing, it actually used to be dark on Halloween when I was a kid. And I think it was 6 to 8 then too. It's just,
68 for my kids,
Yeah.
they're in the 40s.
yeah. I'm well in my 50s.
when you use the phrase, when I was a kid,
Yeah,
that means you're officially old.
and I am old. I don't hide that at all, Terry.
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
But anyways, if we could go ahead and get that, you know, teed up, so.
Absolutely, that'll be
Either
either
that or-
this evening or first thing tomorrow morning, but the good news is the next convergence of Friday night in football will be in 2031.
Oh,
The last time it happened, I think it was 2014 and then 2008.
yep,
So,
all
we did a
right.
lot of homework on this subject. And,
So you-
haven't filled a lot of direct calls or,
Right.
which is, you know,
And,
Don't look at Facebook then.
yeah, I
You're
know,
the- you're the
we've already been
scourge
going,
of,
yeah,
Halloween.
well,
I understand.
but you know what? Hey, maybe kids will get to trick or treat for 3 hours this year, and that'll make everybody happy, so make sure y'all stock up on candy. Anything
Oh,
else, John? Yeah, you do, let's go see Steve.
Just, again, just wanna, you know, double down on the comments, like this weekend was another fabulous Saturday. I think the downtown trick or treating is really a cool event, it brings people to downtown, and it's a really, for the city and for events, and the police department is full-on participators is awesome. It's a very low impact for us event, you know, it just happens, and people are happy, and it's great, and it's wonderful.
Well, and
Really
here's
enjoy
what
it.
I'll add to that too, and here's how we are flexible. There was a home game last Friday night, and we were supposed to have our zombie crawl for Halloween, which has been our third, I think. We bumped it over to Saturday, and you know what, we had fabulous attendance for Saturday. So, you know, we will do what we need to do to make sure that this community, we're all, you know, on the same page moving forward. So, thank you, appreciate it. Chief?
Thank you. So talking about trick or treat,
Yeah,
Saturday was great. Gave out a lot of candy, and we had to dip into the potato chips, but we were able to get something to every kid.
good, excellent.
So there's a lot of people that were downtown. 3 reserve officers came in, make sure everyone crossed the road safely, so didn't have any issues. Our lien audit is coming up in November. I know none of you probably have never been involved with a lien audit, but it's something to behold. So we've been working with VC3 and Vonnie and Officer Smith. They're doing a great job getting ready for the lien audit, and I have no doubt they will pass with flying colors.
All right.
So that's all I have.
Chief, can you explain what the acronym means?
Yep.
Oh, LEAN is Law Enforcement Identification Network. LEAN is when we run a person through LEAN to get their driver's license information back, to see if they have warrants. We run a criminal history check. That's LEAN. And it's a very guarded system that we have to jump through a lot of requirements for. Everything through working with VC3 and our internet provider to make sure it's secure and encrypted, to physical security. You have to have a sign on each door saying authorized only. Your computer screens can't be facing a window where people could look in. So it's a very well guarded system that we have to conform to.
Any questions for Chief? Are we gonna, I know it's such a far distance, but with Halloween being Friday, are we gonna give our boys an escort over to the football
I
field?
haven't got anything for the football team.
Okay,
We'll certainly do that if they request it,
okay,
to go from the high school to the ball field, which would be great.
yeah,
We did get a request, the cross-country team is going to States
excellent,
on Saturday, so we will be escorting the cross-country team
excellent,
at 10:15 a.m. to the highway.
excellent, great.
So they'll have an escort.
Well, I hope they do ask you for
Yeah.
one over to the field.
We will happy to do it.
That would be great, and congratulations to our cross-country team as well. Anything else, questions for Chief? Pull it down. All right. Committee member subcommittee reports. Anybody want to report on anything? Yes, Steve?
We had a TIFA meeting, which somebody was a little late for, but we looked at utilizing some of the funds in the TIFA funds to complete various projects that's been discussed in various forums, and I'll let the city manager, if he wants to detail exactly what those were that we most recently talked about.
All right, great. Yeah.
Sure, the first the first project is the replacement garage with cold storage building, you'll hear that later, is to write the request for proposals for that, over the next month or so, and then issue that over the winter, and hopefully be in construction once the weather turns around. And when that project's completed, we'll be able to move the red barn on Railroad Street. It's full of, it's useful, it's got signs, any of our traffic signs, it has some benches, things that we use almost every day in Public Works. And then that building will come down, and we'll do our best to preserve elements of it. I know it's historic and there's a market for that. So those will be the first two. And then in the meantime, looking at it's called the old community services building, public service building. I forget the name of it, but it's the older building that's right next to the water tower, and stabilizing that. That's where the Chevy box van has been living for all these years. But so those are the projects, and then also TIFA participating in Railroad Street to the extent of its limit.
Okay, all right, excellent, thank you. Anybody else have meetings they want to report on? No? Okay. All right, we have another opportunity for audience participation with a maximum of 5 minutes per presentation. Do I have anybody in the audience that would, okay? If you could come forward and state your name, please, and your address.
Okay, my name is Caroline Canarelli, 126 Block Street. Okay, are there any plans in the constructions for the golf cart parking?
Well, I know we talked about it this last time. I think that's something that our city manager will bring to us once he and our DPW staff have that put together. Yes, John?
We'll have signage, but there's no need or to build additional parking just for golf carts. I mean, there's plenty of room.
Well, aren't you gonna label them and?
Oh, yeah, he said signage, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Dan, go ahead.
I think what we had discussed was basically putting signs in the grass areas that we were going to designate where it was allowed in McCormick Park.
Sure.
So basically, wherever it is on the grass in McCormick Park, that the golf carts are gonna be allowed to park, where DPW deems it appropriate, there'll be a sign there saying golf carts allowed on the grass, or whatever it is, but it's not gonna be roped off or.
Right. Or, when we,
Paved or divided off or anything, huh?
well, in any city parking lot right now, if there's an open parking space, you can park in it, but we are going to possibly get some I think we did talk about getting some signs for actual parking spaces in parking lots over there by McCormick Park. And I do believe when we talked about on the grass parking, that was going to be for specific events, not like an all year long.
I'm just gonna remind folks we're in public comment. We've
I
had
know, I'm
a
sorry.
Lengthy
Yep,
discussion
yep.
about this before.
So sorry. Anything else, Caroline?
Well, that's what I was wondering. If
Okay.
so, when will they be ready? Will they be ready by spring when things start, like in the park, they start with the entertainment on the shell and
Yeah.
they will be?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's all. I see you haven't got your microphones yet.
All right, thank you, Caroline. Sorry for digressing on that. Anyone else for audience participation at this time?
Bingo.
Come on up, Terry. I hate to disappoint.
That's all right. You know the drill. State your name, address.
Terry Campbell, 308 Fulton Street. And I decided to come down because this has been my routine since July, to come down here twice a month. And I can't say as I'm gonna miss this, but I came down tonight for what was that show, Fear Factor. You guys are getting the holistic stress test right now, thinking, oh my God, what is she gonna say now? So I'm looking forward to Friday being the date that we can actually turn in the okey dokies for the golf carts. And like I say, did anybody happen to see golf carts in Michigan were national news? And that gentleman that they interviewed, that is Mike from Chief Carts, who is a family-run business, and we have gotten all our carts from him. And it would be nice if we could drive it after dark, or at least on the sidewalk, because they can be made into snow plows. And we don't have to plow our own or ask the city to plow the sidewalks. Anyways, like I say, I just felt obligated to come down and give a little panic to everybody. And that's it.
Well, Terry, if you're really bored, you can always come on a council night. We would love to have you here. You may just sit
No, I
back there,
don't
you
think
may
you
not
would.
get up, but,
If you have difficulty sleeping.
yeah.
I do most of my sleeping from like 8 to 10, and then I'm up during the middle of the night.
Well, we appreciate
One
having
thing I
you.
can tell you that maybe you guys wanna think about spending some money on, the trees that are hollow next to this street. I'm afraid to even go to, well, it's almost kitty corner from where you did that, had the sidewalk fixed on Fulton Street, that's what I live on. That thing, supports an entire colony of raccoons and various other animals that, I mean, it's bad. And I fear for its life and anybody else that happens to be standing in the street or in the 2 yards that the tree border's on. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Looks like no other audience participation. I'll go around the table now for council member comments. I will start down here with John.
Okay.
Terry?
This is really encouraging. It is really well done. And this has happened, this is the 3rd year I think I've been part of this process. And it's just really good to see that.
Yep.
Very straightforward, very positive.
All right, Steve?
As a business owner downtown, I would like to echo the comments about how successful it was. If you look down the streets, you would think that you're in New York or Chicago during that 2-hour period, because both sides, it's like they're on escalators going up and down the street. So it's a very positive event for Williamston.
Great, thank you. Yes.
I think just echoing what Terry said is, we all should be comfortable when we think about Williamston and how we're being taken care of by our staff. And this audit shows that we don't have any concerns as it relates to where the money is going, and that is, our staff should be commended again for that.
Terry?
An additional thing, on the accounts payable kind of stuff like that, the amount of money we spend promoting and conducting and doing these downtown events and so forth, that amount of money is minuscule compared to things like repairing the street sweeper and other things that have to get repaired at the sewer plant and the water plant and all that kind of stuff. So in terms of like bang for your buck, return on investment, these events that you have downtown, they're a big, they don't cost very much money and they're really positive.
Yeah. Dan?
I'd like to echo what everybody said about the audit. Every year since I've been on council, we get an audit and our position is always reported back as very strong, that our treasury staff is doing a good job. It's one of my favorite meetings because there's other communities that don't get such positive news. I'd just like to thank our staff for that and giving us a lot of mostly easy decisions that we can make to help keep us there. In addition to that, we've had a lot of talk about Halloween and trick-or-treating, and it's a very cool position to be in, having to figure, okay, when are we gonna go trick-or-treating, if we're gonna go to the home playoff game that our varsity football team is on. One thing that our football program has put together is Thursday at Howard Dahlstrom Park, the varsity football team is going to put on a trunk or treat event with the cheerleaders and the varsity band. That will be from 6 to 7 in Howard Dahlstrom Park on Thursday. So if you want to do that, you can do that and trick or treat before the game or during the game, however you want to do it. But the football team will be putting that on.
Trunk or treat, that's good.
That's
Trunk or
great.
treat, yeah.
John, can we get that on the light up board? Perfect. Scott?
Yeah, so, sidewalks were mentioned, and I will tell you that one of my artistic pursuits is photographing sidewalk squares. I photographed every square on Middle Street, for example. They all have a story to tell. Anyway, I've got this notion to create a database of every sidewalk square in the city after I retire. We might be the only city to have one.
That would be fabulous.
There you go.
That would be fabulous.
You missed out on some with characters as well, that just recently been replaced.
Yeah, right. Oh, I bet you there's still some left. Bet you there's still some left with characters. Yeah, right.
I'm not retired.
Tim, you're good? I just wanna, say thank you so much to our city staff, to Tom, Ann, Barb, Holly, yep, got them all. John, you guys do a fabulous job. It's your everyday job. I would not wanna come and sit in your seat and do what you do, but what you do helps us be able to do what we do for the community and the residents that voted us in here. It's 100% transparent. We get all the facts. We've never really had anything in my time here where I've been asked to vote on something and there wasn't any supporting evidence or information in front of us so that we could make an informed decision whether it was a yes vote or a no vote. So thank you so much for all that you do so that when we do have these audits, we can see that we are in a really, really good shape. We're very fiscally and sound, financially sound, and we're smart with our money. Yep, I appreciate that so much. I'm just excited about the fact that our football team's moving forward. I'm excited about the fact that we're gonna figure out how to make it so kids can basically trick or treat for 24 hours on Friday. But
It's going on a whole week.
I know, it's really. So anyways, I
Mr.
mean,
Jenkins
you know what?
decided
I feel bad for the
candy
parents
was
and their
flying out of
dental appointments about 6 months from now. But anyways, with that, it's gonna be a very exciting week here in Williamston with Halloween activities, football activities, and also our cross-country team going to their finals. So with that, I will go ahead and say just be safe out there as it's getting darker earlier. We do have the time change coming up on Saturday. Don't forget to set those clocks, fall back an hour, and we'll go ahead and adjourn at 6:55.